Hey Road Trippin' fam, we are excited to let you know that Road Trippin' is proud to be presented by FanDuel. Never played NBA Daily Fantasy on FanDuel before? Well, check this out. Right now, FanDuel is offering up to a $500 bonus instantly when you make your first deposit with a 20% deposit match. Why should you play on FanDuel NBA? Well, for one, it is easy to use when it comes to their app. What's not to love about that? But also, for example, they offer different and unique contests across sports in relation to your skill level. Oh yeah, and get this. You can play for big prizes, single game contests for the biggest national matches, and enter contests for as low as 5 cents. That's right. 5 cents. Simply incredible. So again, let's recap. Right now, FanDuel is offering up to a $500 bonus instantly when you make your first deposit with a 20% deposit match. Enter URL fanduel.com/roadtrippin to play now and get your deposit bonus. That's URL fanduel.com/roadtrippin so they know we sent you. FanDuel, more ways to win. Cheers. Cheers, cheers, cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. What is that? What is that? A Celsius?
I know. I'm at work. Welcome into this edition of Road Trippin' presented by FanDuel. I'm your host, Ellie Clifton, alongside Channing Frye, Richard Jefferson, and our guest today is not only a stud on the field, but as you're about to learn, he shares some similarities with our crew off the field. And we're excited to dive into it all with safety from the Denver Broncos, Kareem Jackson. Kareem.
Wow. Welcome, big fella.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Should we do the nuts and bolts first, or should we talk about what we share off the field?
No. Hold on. I have this question. So, you were the same class as Earl Mitchell, who went to U of A, right?
Yes.
Did Earl ever tell you about, because I'm on a text chain, and I say, yo, we're about to interview Kareem. And they said, did Earl ever tell you about how magical Tucson is?
No, I don't think he ever told me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never told me.
Well, you got to change. This is what you have to understand. Like, the way Alabama football players get treated is the way Arizona basketball players get treated.
They don't talk to the peasants.
Yeah. Jeez.
Listen.
I
forgot for a second.
Channing, Richard, does that hurt y'all's ego that he didn't really have much to say about Arizona, or?
No. We're a basketball.
No, yeah, we're a basketball school. Like don't get me wrong.
We have good
we
individual football players, but when you get beat by 70, we're like a basketball school, then a softball school, then a swimming school.
Football comes last, right?
Oh man, you got the best facility, but when you get beat by 70, you got to make some changes.
No, look, man, that's the thing that we talk about.
What is that like, Alabama? So like Arizona as a basketball player is the greatest. Give me a day in the life of an Alabama football player.
It's basically like being a professional player already, because the campus is just the entire Tuscaloosa, and that's where it's in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And I went from, and I'll tell you the different experiences though, because my freshman year we weren't that good. We went 7-6. We played in what I call the toilet bowl, was the Shreveport Independence Bowl. We played against Colorado, which was terrible.
Which would be a huge game for Arizona football. Be a huge game for us.
My sophomore year, we went 12-2. We was 12-0 up into the SEC championship. We lost to Florida, Tebow. They were loaded, had all those guys, and so we ended up losing SEC championship, and we lost to Utah in a bowl game. But just night and day difference from my freshman year to. That's one of those games where we're like, all right, we don't want to be here. Let's just go out here and get this shit over with. Excuse me, can I use that type of language?
You can say whatever the hell you want. Yeah.
All
right. Channing, the further away you get from the mic, the harder it is for us to hear you, Channing.
Oh my God.
So everybody's let me go ahead and get shit over. We've been in New Orleans for a whole week. We're ready to go home. But just the night and day difference from being a subpar team on to obviously Saban doing his whole recruiting thing and bringing in all the guys that, he wanted to bring in. It's night and day difference. It's pretty much any and everything you wanted to do around campus in Birmingham. It was whatever. Like,
so
we would go to restaurants and eat hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of food. You get your check back, it might be $5. Like the best steakhouses in town.
God, that sounds like
ridiculous.
a dream. See, they weren't giving us free food; they were just giving us free liquor. Which, in hindsight, at our school, it's just as much as gold. But I want to talk about the competitiveness at Alabama, right? Because what I see, and the reason why Alabama is at the top all the time, one, it's coaching. Two, it's the talent, but it's also the competitiveness within the talent, because every year there's more high school All-Americans coming in. So like freshman year to sophomore year,
right.
that doesn't mean, next year's my year, right? Or next year's my year, because they could have a future number 1 pick or top 5 pick coming in right behind you because he wants to play at Alabama. How did that help you, that competitiveness? Did you look around? Was it like a iron sharpens iron, or was it one of those things where it's like everyone's so locked in because it's a stepping stone?
I think it was a little bit of all that, because every year we was going to reload. We had all these 5 stars. Obviously Saban had just got back to college, so he was the hottest thing going in college football at that point in time, and we were winning. We just went 12-2, and he's just all of these 5 stars rolling in. And so for you, it's just like, well, these guys not coming here for no reason. And a lot of it was like, to get those guys, obviously those coaches making promises and stuff like that. So for me, it's just like, I know what I'm here for. I only want to be here 3 years. So it's no way they're going to sign somebody that's going to come take my spot. So it's an iron sharpen iron, just because you don't want to be that wink out there. For me, defensively, we had a ton of guys that were really good. So I didn't want to be the liability out there. I didn't want to be the one of the guys looking at it just like, man, because sometimes you play with that liability. You was like, either how can we help him get better, or we're gonna have to try to get him off the field at some point. So I didn't want to be that guy. And for me,
nobody wants to be that guy.
For me, day one on campus, it was me and a guy named Rolando McClain. He was like one of my best friends in college, and our only mentality was to go 3 and out. We're gonna play out 3 seasons, and we're gonna go. We're gonna let the chips fall where they may. And we had 3 great seasons, and both of us ended up getting drafted first round. So that was our mentality. Our first day on campus, we stuck to that. We worked to it, and that was all we thought about. And so, like I said, with you asking that question, it was a little bit of all of that.
Do you have?
You look like you have something to say.
I'm just making sure. It's like a little like fuzzy on my end, so I just want to make sure I'm not like interrupting as you guys are talking too. Do you have a favorite Nick Saban story? I know Richard and Channing don't care about this, but Nick Saban coached at my alma mater as well for a year. Toledo, 1990. Also was a GA at Kent State, so he represented in the MAC a little bit. Okay. Do you have a favorite Nick Saban story?
The mac and cheese conference.
It's a ton, but I just remember one time on the field, and you have one of those players that kind of pissed the coach off, and then he just really starts to, go off on him. And I just remember we was doing this kickoff drill, so we were kicking it off 50, 60 yards down the field, and the entire time we doing the special teams drill, he like literally walking up and down the field with this guy every time, and he just basically giving him hell. And he just got to a point, and he was just like, "Fuck, you're not even that good." Like, he tell him that, I'm just like, "Oh my God." But he was one of those guys, like, it didn't care what player it was. If he was a coach, player, athletic trainer, he didn't care. If he got pissed off about something, he's gonna let you hear about
it. Did that help you? So, like, again, every school is different. Like the way, like we're going to associate with basketball, but, the way Urban Meyer approaches something is different than Nick Saban. The way Lute Olson, like our college coach, approached something is different than, let's say, Mike Krzyzewski. Shout out our guy Roy Williams, great career, retirement. We'll get into that. But do you think that better prepared you? Because when you're talking about that type of environment at Alabama, next thing you know, you're getting into the NFL, and there's no difference. You guys are prepping the same, you're working the same, you're training the same. Like, was it a big jump for you? I'm not talking about like talent. Obviously, you're going against fucking Calvin Johnsons and different receivers like on a nightly basis, but was it a difference like, oh, this is the same, it's just the talent that we're going against is better?
It definitely prepared me. I would say going into finally getting drafted, the coaches were a little more lenient. Obviously they expect you to come in and handle your business, and just leaving him, man, him being so demanding, and he's going to ride you for every little thing. And he was a DB coach as well. So we would watch film with him. We went through individuals with him. And so every little thing you did wrong, he was going to critique it. He's going to correct you here. Footwork. If you step outside of yourself to go a certain way, he's going to correct every little thing you did. So it definitely helped me, just my mentality, just, making sure I honed in on the little things as a player, and obviously expecting a lot out of myself and not just expecting, the coaches to correct you on everything. So it definitely helped me in that aspect.
Covering guys like, obviously Calvin Johnson and Larry Fitzgerald, who's a guy, because, on Instagram, you see these videos of Derrick Henry doing these workouts, right? Who's the guy when you're back there and he got a full head of steam that you like, listen, I got to harness every bit of pounds that I got to put this dude down. Like, who is just a rhinoceros when he gets a head of steam or a bowling ball?
I would say right now him, but before him, it was Adrian Peterson.
Was just a monster.
He was that guy, especially being in the secondary. Once he got to you, he was at top speed, especially if he untouched. And your head just like, how in the hell I'm gonna get this guy down? and it's just like, well, obviously I got to try to shoot my gun before he shoots his. But he's one of those guys. He's not slowing down. He's not gonna stutter his feet. He sees you, and it's just you almost like you can see his eyes, just like. I'm like, oh my God. But it's one of those things. You better bite down on your mouthpiece and get ready for a collision, man. But he's definitely just over his career, man. He's always been one of those guys that when you see him in the open field, better have your lunch pail that day, because if not, it's not gonna be anything pretty.
Yeah. That's funny when you say it that way. You're just like, if he gets in the open field, or if he gets into the backfield, especially if he's untouched, at that point in time, he is because I think Derrick Henry, as big as he is, like Adrian Peterson seemed more like a missile when he broke through that.
A missile. And it's like, we used to call him a raging bull. Like, it's almost like he's seeking that contact, and he's running and he was fast too. So he's running so fast. It's like, it's no way you're going to win that matchup. So it's just like, you got to get to him. Hopefully somebody slows him down or spins him around, and he don't have that full head of steam, but you got to try to close that space as much as you can before he get going.
Okay. So then if you had to pick one, open field.
If I had to pick one, Adrian Peterson.
Okay.
I'm gonna say Adrian Peterson.
Well, we're not really going out on a limb there saying AP.
No disrespect. Right, that's no disrespect to Derrick Henry. I just feel like Derrick Henry's more finesse than Adrian Peterson. Derrick Henry might make you miss in the open field, or he stiff arm you. AP ain't gonna make you miss. He's that train. He's on the tracks, and if you get on him, it ain't gonna be pretty.
Okay, good. That's what it feels like watching. It's good to know that's experience.
I have a question because
I didn't play basketball.
6-7 months ago, we had on here Myles Garrett, and Channing and Richard were talking about the transfer from an NFL player to an NBA player or vice versa. Which one was easier? Like, having these conversations, Channing, if you were in the NFL, what position would you play?
Punter?
Oh.
You not hitting me? Are you fucking kidding?
I was about to say, you sound like you don't want to get hit.
No. You saw Myles Garrett doing windmills? You want him to hit me? No. I'm not built that way, right? Listen,
You
I
said
look
a
at
punter.
listen, a punter. You not touching me. Hey, if you touch me, I'm on the ground. Go. Penalty. Get your ass up out of here. All I got to do is lift and punt the shit out of a football and then run and act like I'm going to chase somebody.
And they don't even lift.
See?
Those guys don't lift, man. Those guys don't do it. They'll do it. They don't lift. They probably practice once a week, and most of the time they come to practice, they in sneakers and whatever hat
Is
or whatever.
is that why you guys really hate them? And I don't mean that as like people. I just mean their position. I feel like there's always this underlying level of resentment towards like kickers and punters and like when you had one job whenever they make a mistake. Like you guys are the first ones to tackle them and celebrate. But when they make a mistake,
I don't hate them. It's just that, sometimes you're in camp and you're in those dog days at camp and they still they come in every day, they upbeat, they still feeling good. Week 15 roll around, you might have a high ankle sprain or sprain your ankle or nursing injuries, and they come through smiling, upbeat, and he's just like, man.
That's me. Hey, look, that's me every day. What's up, guys? You ready to win?
Man, and in some organizations, it's like they don't even have to stay there all day. And I've never sat in a meeting room with them, but I can't imagine what a meeting would be like. What are y'all meeting about?
It's like I don't know what they would talk about.
You need to punt this is one closer to the goal line. See, that's why I want to be a punter, not a kicker. Because
I respect those guys
because
I can't kick, but I'm just like, when it comes to the amount of time that, obviously other positions spend in meeting rooms and, the aches and pains and all that stuff, it's just, it doesn't match up. So it's just kind of like, you look at them, you're just like, look at this.
No, okay, so this is one. We always have conversations in sports about like what's easiest is like baseball, they'll travel places and they'll be there for like 4 days and they only travel to like warm weather cities, right? Like they have to go to Milwaukee, but they're going to Milwaukee in June, right? And then a lot of these guys live in different places, but they have to get to the ballpark, even for like a 7:00 game, they have to get to the ballpark at like 2:00, right? Like It's super early. For us, and even practice, we could be at practice for an hour, right? And that's like an actual like scheduled practice. That means that like we have practice for like 45 minutes, maybe an hour. Then everyone shoots at their own hoops. You might lift, you do your treatment. But really, if you were doing the bare minimum, you could be in and out of there in like probably 90 minutes, hour and a half, about 90 minutes. If you were like, look, I got an appearance, or like, I got to get back because my kid, or I'm going to go say goodbye to my parents. So like, if you were just like an in and out day, 90 minutes.
Are you telling people that you did the bare minimum?
No, I'm just saying that there were times. Okay. For instance, if you didn't, like, everybody knows this one, if you didn't pack before your flight, right? If you did not pack before your flight, you would get to practice and you would be like, guys, I got to go pack. So it's like, as soon as practice was over, there was no extra work. There was go home, pack, and then meet at the airport. So like, we're talking about like just a rare moment. That being said, will you tell people what a football like morning, like kind of like a medium to long day is for y'all? It's shit's absurd.
It's absurd.
It's like, so for me, and obviously I'm a little older, so I got to get going. I had to get my body going, all this extra shit. So and obviously with being with Denver now, it's a little bit different when I was in Houston, because Houston we would meet a little earlier. So in Denver, we probably meet about 8:30. I'm usually up about 6:30, 7:00. Yeah. I'm like 5 minutes from the facility, so I'm usually I'm usually there. I'm usually there an hour before meetings, so probably 7:30 I walk in the building. You can have the option to lift before meetings in the morning, and usually I will lift just to get it knocked out, because I don't like lifting after practice, because that's just going to make my day even longer. So around 8:30 we might meet. So like I said, I get there an hour before, which is about 7:30. I eat breakfast and just kind of relax until 8:30 meetings. So we might meet from 8:30 to maybe about 12.
Oh.
8:30 to 12.
8:30 to 12 what?
8:30 to
talking
12,
about?
we're gonna meet. So you're gonna go from the team meeting, then it's gonna after team meeting, it might be special teams meeting. So I'll get a little break there because I'm not on special teams, but I'm still in the building. I'm not going. I'm just basically lounging around in my locker or shooting the shit somewhere around the facility or whatever. And from there you go to your offensive defensive meetings. Offensive defensive meetings, you usually installing, what we're gonna do, that week in the game. So that's gonna go about an hour, maybe an hour and a half, depending on, how lengthy your coach is or whatever. So from there, you're going to go to individual meetings. Then you're going to be in individual meetings for another hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. From there, you go into practice, but you're going to get a lunch break before practice. So that lunch break, wait. From the last meeting, you got a walkthrough. So you're going to go to the walkthrough. Walkthrough is going to be about 45 minutes. And you basically walking through all the stuff you're going to do in practice. So after the walkthrough, you get a lunch break for about maybe about 40 minutes. So after lunch break, then you go to practice. Now it's about 1 o'clock, like 1:30.
You haven't even started practice yet.
Haven't even started practice yet. Then you go to practice. You're going to practice for 2 hours. I know we practice for 2 hours now. After practice, you got meetings after practice. Then you watch film for maybe about 30 minutes. You watch the practice film. And then after that, you got to do all your self-care.
When are you human? When do you get to be a human?
They're not.
When you get home at about 8 o'clock.
Really? Y'all have 12-hour days?
And all you have, so when I'm done with practice and meetings, then I usually take another 2 hours. I do hot tub, cold tub, whatever else I need to do to make sure, I'm good to go for practice the next day. Then I finally go home. And once I get home, I relax maybe an hour and two. Then I have to watch film for another hour and a half to prepare myself for the next day. So by then, only thing left to do is eat and go to sleep.
Get you a little sip of wine. I know that.
Okay, so first of all, congratulations to you. You just signed another deal.
That's mandatory.
You just signed another deal with Denver.
Yes, thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
Congratulations. You also, and this isn't to put you on blast at all, but here on Road Trippin', we love telling stories and we love when you tell your story. You also just discussed that you're not happy with the 17-week schedule.
Did you just hear that day? Did you just hear that day that man just said?
That's why I'm asking this.
Did you hear that shitty day?
What is the reasoning behind that?
And that's just because for me, 16 games is enough. Like, by the time you get to week 12, 13, maybe 14, and if you're not a contender or not a team that's going to be in the playoffs, man, you looking at the schedule saying, shit, man. Hey, you planning trips. You like, man, the season's long enough. Once you go through camp, which is a month, you go through preseason, usually 4 weeks. And depending on who you are, you may not have to play, but you still got to practice and do all this other stuff. Now you got to prepare all week, all year and play 16 games. By the time you get to that week 16, 17, man, your body is beat up. You beat the shit. And it's just like mentally you're shot and you're just trying to find a way to get to Sunday. And so you're going to add another week on top of that. And for me, I'm just like, all right, well, if you're a team that's in contention, why add another week when you can go out there and knock some of your best guys, go down just because you added another week. And when you get in the playoffs, you don't got your best guy. Or one of your best guys or something like that. So it just doesn't make sense. Like I feel like 16 weeks is enough. Can't get that shit done in 16 weeks, then it's a problem.
Well, and again, if it's not the 17th, I feel like aren't they adding another playoff game? Are they adding another not a playoff round, but like an opportunity for teams?
They did that they started that last year. So I think it was 3 games. So they added
one extra like round, so another wild card game. So okay, so my thing is this: if you guys as players, like you've heard enough players speak out about this, saying they did not want this, that this is not just purely about money, and like yes, money was going to go in our pockets, more money was going to go in your pockets, but at the same point in time, like the damage that one extra game can do at the end of the season. So why did you guys agree to this? Why as players? And I'm not asking you to put your guys on blast, but just like you heard too many guys speaking out against this. And the guys that were obviously speaking for it and voted for it have been semi-quiet during this time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously they're going to be quiet about it, but I'm gonna tell you, like our league, we had, I think it was close with the voting. It was really, really close, but we had like maybe I can't remember what it was, but we had a crazy amount of guys that didn't even vote. So if you get those extra votes, whether they're left or right, maybe, this new CBA it's not passed. So it's just like we had a ton of guys that didn't vote. So now we looking around looking crazy. We got an extra game and all this extra stuff and now everybody's pissed. When you have guys that just obviously not really taking care of the or not taking the situation serious and they don't vote, what can we say?
Yeah, because the people that want it are going to vote. The people whose money is going to go up, the people whose money is really getting affected. But it was, a lot of the younger guys, a lot of the guys are just kind of floating around. They're still just happy to be there. 16 games, 12 games, it don't matter. They just want to play football. But it's like, you're not really. Yeah, when you guys said 17, I was like, well, they had to approve it. So
right, yeah, did. I mean, obviously they proposed it. So, but like I said, we had a ton of guys that didn't vote, and I know, like for me, I'll be 33 next Saturday. I don't need that extra game.
Yeah, well, just be glad it's happening at the end. Just be glad that extra game is happening at the end of the career.
You might not have made it until 33. You're shortening careers, so you may get a little bit of money in your career, right? Because you have that extra game or those extra 2 games. But then you're shortening your career because of that week starts to add up, right? So instead of getting the wear and tear of it and the mental of it, even that last week, if you're already guaranteed to go to the playoffs, you're not playing any of your players. So like let's say, the Bucks play the Jets, right? The Buccaneers aren't gonna play anybody. So they're gonna play their 3rd string guys that game who haven't played all year against a team who's played all 16 games and they got their starters out trying to develop culture. Like somebody's gonna get hurt.
But the thing about the NFL, like even when they get late like that, if you already know you're in the playoffs, like you're gonna have to play some of your starters. You don't have enough guys to be able to sit all your starters out. You sit your quarterback out, you might sit your best receiver out, your running back or something like that. But defensively, those guys are gonna probably have to go play. So even if you're your best corner or safety or your best linebacker have to play for or whatever, like some of those guys are going to have to go play because, it's not enough guys to sit everybody out. Mm-hmm. So what if you do if your best linebacker or your best corner get a high ankle?
You're done.
You like
high ankle.
Well, look, I know, like poor Laker fans right now, but the worst part about it is that it's not going backwards. Right, you guys, I don't want to say it'll never ever, but you guys missed your opportunity to keep it in probably the best zone because now this is 17 games. Next conversation is 18 games.
Shit, by that time they started 18, I'll have my feet kicked up. I'll be done throw those things over the power line.
With that, let's make the transition to things and talk about things that don't piss us off, things that make us happy. Because we have been told Channing's name here on Zoom is Wine Lord. We talk about chosen wine, his bottle that several bottles that he has now created himself. And we hear that you are a big wine connoisseur as well.
Yes, I am. I've been like heavy into it maybe 4 years now. It took me a while to kind of get onto the train. And I actually started drinking wine through my guy that does my suits out of New York. He put me on a Malbec kind of early on. And then from there, I just started to kind of, taste test and experiment with a lot of different things. And from there, it just kind of grew. And now I'm a huge wine guy.
Malbec that's a wild wine to start with. Most people say Cab, Pinot.
And there's no judgment here.
No.
And the thing about it is the more I got into it and I'm like, damn, I can't believe I started with a Malbec. And the thing about I don't think I've had a Malbec since then.
No, that's what I'm saying. Nobody's like, oh yeah, I start out with the Northern Rhone Syrah. Like nobody starts out like that. Like you start out with usual, like, Chardonnay, Pinot, Cab, Rosé, Champagne. So you're into it, but how into it are you in the sense of, do you want to do this when you're done? Do you want to have your own label? Do you want to own a vineyard? What are some of your favorite
Or do you just want to drink it? Do you just want to drink it like me?
Yeah, I just want to drink a ton of it. I haven't gotten to the point where I'm just like, I want to create my own label or, a venue or anything like that. I just really enjoy it. Downtime, it's not too heavy on me. Obviously during the season, a glass or two every night for me, kind of relaxes me, from a long day, and it keeps me, it keeps me happy. It keeps a smile on my face at the end of the day after, like I say. But for me, I just love to enjoy it. I haven't gotten to the point where I was like, oh, this is something that I really want to, invest in as far as, a vineyard or anything like that.
Okay, so have you made any trips? So you just went to Napa. Have you been to like France? Have you been to like any of those places ever? Like, unfortunately, I took a trip with fucking Channing, so I had to listen to his snooty ass talk about wine every single time we've been to France. But it's a good time. But like, have you been any place like to kind of just taste wine and just get that experience?
I haven't gone to France or anywhere like that. Right now, I just try to take a trip here and there to Napa and hit all the vineyards there before I can get to the point to go to France and stuff. How was that France trip?
Man, listen.
It's different.
You're going to look, no offense, here's the deal. France, Italy, they have been doing this for hundreds of years.
Right.
Napa has been doing it for like 50. So like, this is maybe second generation. They're at like 30, 40 generations of somebody doing something. So like, when they say, oh, these vines are 600 years old, you're like, God damn. You understand why it's $300 a bottle. They just have a respect for it. Not that Napa doesn't. They just have a respect for it, and the rules of how you make a bottle of wine are so strict is why it's so impressive to me. Like, you can't irrigate your fields. Like, whatever you get is whatever you get. Like, if you're in a shitty spot and that year you don't have any yield, you're shit out of luck. So it's like you got to know, and just people grow up wanting to do that job. Where here people are like, well, I'm going to do it because of money, or I just like doing it. Over there, they're like, my dad did it, my grandpa did it, his grandpa did it, and they've been just living in the fields. And so it's an amazing trip to learn and get hyped up. I can't wait. I went to Italy with Richard, fuckface over there, and I can't wait to go back and learn, because I wasn't really like, I wasn't there for the wine, but I want to go back to wine and get into Piedmont, the Barolos and Nebbiolos and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
it's not that expensive. It's not. Let me say, you can do that trip. You can plan that out. Like what? Like it's not.
What's not that expensive? Because
Thank you.
Based on your contract, you're gonna be just okay.
Football and basketball is a little different. So.
Okay. So let me say, what year is this for you in football?
12.
Oh,
okay, so 12. Then let me just say this.
That's a weekend in Vegas to you.
With all due respect, you've earned it. Okay, whatever the trip is, right? If you're a wine person, if you're this, like, dude, like you can make more money, but those type of experiences. And when I say that, like, it wasn't that expensive, it's like the whole trip, you're not spending $10,000 on the whole trip, right? Like. Now it depends on how much you drink and how much you eat. Like I'm talking about, like, you can get a nice affordable plane ticket. You can map out if you want to go down to Florence. Like, we drove, so I don't even know where we drove from to another place, but like we rented smart cars. Channing's old tall ass.
No. I was in an Alfa Romeo. My shit was booming, dog. Hey. No lie, I was freaked out because I'm like, I don't ever drive. When we were in Italy, we had a driver and they drove us everywhere, right? Because our wives went. And so now Lauren's like, yeah, let's rent a car. Everyone's like, yeah, let's rent cars. I'm like, you gonna have my big ass driving? And everybody rents these cars and we're just driving down the coast. We went to Provence, we went to Bordeaux, we took the train to Bordeaux, we went to Nice, we went to all these places. So if you go with a good group, it's the best trip ever. Like, it is unbelievable.
I went to Italy when I was in college for spring break. One of my boys were playing.
What kind of spring break? Like shit, that's that Alabama money. That's that Alabama money. Where are you going for spring break? You going to Daytona? Nah, I'm gonna go to Italy.
One of my boys were playing ball over there, so he flew me over for spring break. So
was that considered an extra? Was that considered an extra benefit? Are we allowed to talk about that now?
Well, yeah, we can talk about it now. But at that point in time, everybody's like, "Where are you going?" I'm just like, "Man, I'm gonna probably just stay here, or I'm gonna go back home."
And you don't gotta tell
and then the thing about it, he went to Kentucky, so he was just like, "Listen, man, you can't tell nobody this and that." So I'm like, "All right, cool." And I ended up driving home, and then I flew from Atlanta. Flew me over, so it was a cool little trip. But I obviously I wasn't into wine or anything like that. So I'm definitely had to get back over there and check it out.
Yeah.
Okay,
don't
so what's
try and
what's
that football, basketball money shit.
What, Richard? What's your what's your favorite varietal now of wine? So you're off the Malbec. I listen to you, Channing, when you speak.
I'm a cab guy right now. Camus is one of my favorites. Opus. I'm a huge Opus guy, but I stay stocked with Camus. The special selection. That's one of my. Just now, when I just went, I checked the Gamble Family vineyard out. That one was pretty good. It's a couple of others that I really really like, but Camus, I can't go wrong. For me, I can't go wrong with Camus, and Sassicaia is another good one that I like. That
Italian,
one.
Okay.
Jane, did you get your Sassicaia? Did you get that? Did you get that from Bron? Did you get it? Did you end up getting it?
We did. Yeah.
Have
you ever tried Bond?
Which one?
BOND, Bond is really good.
I haven't tried that one.
Maya Kamas is really good. We went there. Really good.
I think I had that one before. I had the Maya Kamas.
Yeah, they're really good. Heinz Cellars, you tried them?
I haven't. I'm gonna have to get after this. You have to send me a list or something, man.
I got you a list, dog.
Channing, you should probably let me be the spokesperson for Chosen for a second. You should probably send him your bottle.
Oh, I can do that. We got
great.
Yeah, so we're coming out with Pinot Noir, our 19 Pinot Noir next week after that.
Wait, did you send me the rosé, Channing?
I'm sending you the new rosé, Richard. It's
yeah.
The other one sold out too quick.
Oh, you're a piece of shit. See, you're welcome. That's the thing. We help him sell out all his shit, Kareem, and the next thing you know, like he's like, "Oh man, I ain't got no more. It's sold out." It's like, you're welcome, dog. You could save one. Can I taste it? Can I get a taste?
Oh, I'd rather send you 4 or 5 than just send you one $30 bottle. It's the shipping costs as much as a bottle does.
Yeah, you gotta definitely let me know so I can go in and order a couple of.
Okay, we'll take care of you. Don't worry about it, Doug. You came on the show. We'll take care of you. Chosen family.
No, I appreciate it. Hey, you want to know what's funny? I met you guys one night.
Oh, where at?
I love these stories.
You guys, and I'm gonna tell you because I'm a huge basketball fan and LeBron's my favorite player. So I when I was with the Cavs, I follow the Cavs like pretty much everywhere you guys go play. And so you guys were in the playoffs and y'all was playing the Hawks. There's a couple of years y'all would get the Hawks the first round every year. And I'm from Georgia, so it was an easy trip for me. And I would go to Atlanta, and catch a game out. You guys, I was standing at the W, and you guys come in.
Never mind.
Yes,
upstairs in the lounge part.
Yes,
we were.
I sent you guys a bottle, and Channing came over and got me and brought me back over and introduced me to all you guys.
Yes. Did you not remember this, Channing?
No, I remember.
We were because I feel like that was right after we just went up 3-0, right?
I did. Yeah, I remember it. And it's crazy because, like I said, I had one of my boys with me, and we were just sitting at the bar in the W, and you guys come in, and I'm like, oh, shit. And like I said, I was a huge Cavs fan at the time, and you guys were, obviously kicking ass at that point in time. So you guys went up to that, and I'm like, yo, they got any more tables? And obviously, they ended up putting my table right next to you guys. So I sent you a bottle. I sent you guys a bottle, and then you came over, got me, introduced me to everybody. It was pretty cool. Obviously for me, I was young. I can't remember how long ago that was. So I'm just, oh shit, that was pretty cool for me. So.
Yeah, I remember.
Channing had 8 threes. Remember Channing?
Don't remind the Hawks fans. They're salty still. Barbecue.
Yeah, see, that night for me was tough because I remember walking for the Four Seasons and I got so I'll tell you, this is how hammered I was that night. No. Danny remembers it. This is how hammered I got. We had been crushing whatever. So we were up 3-0. And
you guys at this point were up 7-0 in the playoffs.
So at this point in time, I'm completely we go to W and I'm drinking because I'm going to a conference final. I feel it. I was like, I'm going to conference finals for the first time in 13 years. I'm letting it go right all the way. So the next morning, I was so spaced out. The next morning after that, that's why I don't remember meeting him. I get to, we're in the room, we're all just chilling. I pass out, whatever. I wake up in the next morning, order me some breakfast, just eat, just chill. And I'm just relaxing and I go back to sleep. I just go back to sleep. And all of a sudden, I wake up to phone calls and texts yo, where are you? We had a meeting. And I was like, we had a meeting, right? And this is why T-Lou was great. They fined me for missing. And like that, I've probably missed 3 meetings in my 17 years. Because I just spaced out. I'm like, we're up 3-0. It's fine. This shit's over. I completely spaced out. And so T-Lou, David Griffin was like, well, what are we going to do with Rich? What are we going to do? He's like, I'm not going to fucking suspend him. We're just going to fine him. He missed the meeting. We're up 7-0. It's like, dude, relax. It's different. But it was just that night I got so hammered because I was so excited that we were 1 win away from going to conference finals again, that the next day I think I was still drunk half the day. And then we went out, obviously, and won the next game. But yeah, that's why I don't remember because I barely remember the next morning.
No lie. I knew we were going to win when I saw Kyrie start going into his bag of tricks. So Kyrie, when a game is serious, he's going to give you maybe a 1-2 dribble move, get to the rim. He's going to be very kind of precise. When he drove right, and you remember when he flicked it up like this, Richard, and flicked it over Al Horford, Paul Millsap, he drove like this, and Al Horford is guarding him.
I feel bad for all the people just listening on the audio. You can't see Channing's amazing skills right now.
We'll post it on our social.
I'm like, what is he doing?
I don't know. I'm looking around he drove Channing. Just look. There's not time. But that's crazy.
Just being Kyrie.
Well, okay. Well,
no respect for anybody. We ran the same play game 3 for a whole quarter. We ran a screen and roll with me and him. And they they kept switching Al Horford, and I kept yelling, barbecue his ass, get his ass. And Kyrie was like, say less.
Bro. Well, at least you got to see firsthand, Kareem, that our team was pretty tight. Because I swear there was probably 12 of the 14 roster guys were together. Right.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, y'all came in pretty deep.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Sure. Let me ask you this. Since you said you're a LeBron fan, you are in Denver. You have a guy on the Nuggets that is a possible MVP of the league.
Yeah, he's playing some hell of a ball.
Yeah, what's your thought? Is Jokic the MVP? Is Bron? It's tough with the injuries.
It's obviously with the injury, it's a little tough, but I think right now it's between the Joker or Harden, because Harden's doing some crazy stuff out in Brooklyn as well, but he's out right now too. But Joker is obviously everything for that team, and obviously getting a chance to be there and see it firsthand before COVID and stuff. But he's an amazing player.
Did y'all forget about Damian Lillard?
You say what?
Channing lives in Portland, so he is contractually obligated to mention Damian Lillard whenever the MVP race is going. And Damian Lillard should be in the MVP race, but Channing
That's
just
what I
has to
say.
put it out there.
And I said this. I was on a podcast before this. I said the only reason he wouldn't get it right is because Jokic's one thing that people said he couldn't do is play defense. But I think their team is 15th, right? Their team defense is 15th. Damian Lillard's, the Portland Trailblazers defense is 30th. So you can't see I mean, they're not very good. They're not built to be.
He's like, I can see that.
Right? But like Jokic is solid.
People.
He almost averages 2 steals a game, which is crazy.
Yeah, but again, this is where you get into those bullshit fucking analytics, because when you go and look at protecting the paint, their like paint field goal like percentage is the worst. Denver, I'm talking about. So like that's why they needed Aaron Gordon. They do a god awful job of protecting the paint. So like their team defense might be 15th, but where your center, whether it's via charges, blocks, communications, whatever it is, like your paint defense is their paint defense, the Denver Nuggets, is the worst in the league.
Well, can I say this? In today's system, thank you, Richard, for giving me permission. In today's system, Jokic isn't always down there with the big man. They run a screen and roll. They switch a lot of stuff. So he's guarding the guard. So how can he get block shots? Like Portland is 30th in defense, but they're 8th in the league in block shots.
What's crazy is that we're talking about an individual award, but basing it off of team statistics.
Yes.
Ooh, talk that shit, Allie. Talk that shit. Talk that shit, Allie.
If we're not talking about team statistics, then Damian Lillard should win. If we're talking about just pure body of work.
Well, what about James Harden then? If we're talking about that, if we're going to talk about just statistics, James Harden.
No, we're not talking about this. Listen, it's also the narrative, Richard. You're in the media now. You can't big boy the Houston Rockets and then go ball out with 5 other All-Stars.
He definitely big boy them, man. And I used to love going to Rockets games, and it's just like,
Yeah, but you know what? That was the best move for him. I don't know the direction the Rockets are going. I like Paul Silas. I like John Wall. But, like, where are they going as a team? You either got to be really good or really bad. And I like Christian Wood. I think he's going to be really good. Yeah. Who else do you watch? If you have to stay up and watch a game, other than, like, obviously the big
I'm gonna stay up and watch all of them. I mean, I'm just a fan. I'm just a huge fan, so I'm gonna stay up and watch all of the games. From the time they come on to the last one go off, I'm gonna watch them all. You know?
There we go, man.
Yeah, I'm not the guy that's just going. I'm not the guy that's just gonna pick and choose, games to watch here and there. I watch them all, man, because I just like, to see guys, go out, obviously compete at a high level, and obviously the great players in that league. I like to watch them all.
And
how was your game? Tell us how your game.
Yeah.
I can play. I got I'm a good point guard. I'm gonna strap in on defense. I'm gonna put the ball in where it needs to go, but I can get to the cup and score if I need to.
Oh, okay. So, give me the high school stats. Give me the high school stats. Give me the high school stats.
I averaged about 15 in high school. I ain't gonna say
look at you.
I had a couple of small time offers, nothing big time, but I mean,
what was a small time offer?
I think I had Central Michigan or some shit like that.
Hang on. There is nothing wrong with Central Michigan. It is in the MAC. I played at Toledo.
Whoa. Wait, Allie, he's not disrespecting your school by saying Central Michigan. Look, if someone said,
small town school.
Yes, that's Central Michigan. Look, it's like, if someone says they had some Pac-12 offers and it was Washington State and I don't know, and Oregon State.
As if it's bigger than Arizona, okay?
And I was just one of those guys that was out there because I could play. I already knew, what was going to be,
And they knew. They knew. They were like, hey, he's gonna go play football.
We just need somebody physical.
Corner blitz.
It would have to be Patrick Mahomes.
Oh. Ooh.
He be just talking shit out there.
He's slippery too.
And the thing about it, he don't really talk shit though. He's just so good. He's just so good, man. And what he does for that offense and obviously the weapons that he have, it's just like it make your chances so much better. You can knock the hell out of him and kind of slow him down. But he's just so good, man. And I respect the hell out of him as a player, man. Like I said, he's just so smart as a player. And it's crazy. We was playing him this year And, he's in my division, so we play him twice a year. And the second time we played him, he's just looking at us, and he's like, he tell them, he's like, all right, we're good, we're good. And he just basically calling our coverages out. And we like, oh, shit, man. This is like, and we like, oh, shit. And it's just like, he's just so good, man. His skill set, his arm strength, the way he's able to keep plays alive. He just does so many great things for that team and that offense, man. It's one of those things you get a chance to knock the hell out of him. You want to make him pay for making you chase those guys around. And even when you have him covered, he's just going to take off and run.
Well, and that's the thing that makes it so crazy about him, though, is that when a guy's like that, when a guy that has that many weapons and is that skilled, I don't know, because again, we don't have anything like that in basketball. But because in basketball, we're running 4 up, 1 down, and it's like everybody knows. Like by the time you play a team 7 times in a series, do you know all their play calls? They all know it's just a matter of like, we dare you to stop us, right? So like when a guy like that has that many weapons, and he's that skilled, and he's looking at you guys and he's calling out your defensive coverages, like what's the level of like, fuck, here we go. Like what the okay.
Are you trying to hit him with fake calls like audible, 32 chicken nugget 4?
And then we was in this whole thing this year, so we were playing a lot of zero against him. So it's just like nobody has no help. It's no middle field safety. We basically blitzing everybody.
You just got rushed.
So it's just like, but he's looking, he's like, we're good, guys. They in zero. I'm like, oh my fucking God. He's like, I'm like, man. And we go to one time, we was like, hey, he's basically telling us we're in zero. He knows. And the coach was like, it's okay, just run it. Like, all right.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden something happens. Like, they blitz, you're a man coverage. He leads a receiver that didn't even have a break on you. And there's just no help coming from anywhere. You're just ISO.
From nowhere.
Tyreek Hill, ISO.
Or it's either that or he scramble around, make somebody miss, somebody run back to come back to the ball, 30-yard gain. He's like, oh my God, man, come on, man. This is unreal.
Is there a guy in the NFL that you think is like a breakout star that I don't want to say haven't heard of, but like need to watch more? Is there a guy where you're like, I like this guy. He doesn't get a lot of attention, but like is nice.
I'm gonna say the guy that's playing on the side of me, Justin Simmons.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys. For me,
he just resigned too, right?
He just resigned and just made his second Pro Bowl this year. But I think he's one of those guys. To me, he's the best in the game. I know a lot of other guys get a lot of recognition. He don't really get a lot of recognition that he deserves. He's a hell of a player. He can cover, tackle. He does it all, but I think him, he, like I said, he don't get a lot of recognition for what he does out there on the field, but and it's just starting to kind of, pick up for him. I mean, obviously he's the highest paid now, but before I would say him.
Kareem, this has been so much fun. Before we let you go, I do want to give you a chance. You have the Kareem Jackson Foundation.
Yes, I do.
Staking. What are you guys working on? What do you have going on?
Right now we're actually just trying to schedule some new events for the upcoming season. Hopefully things will be back to normal. We usually do an event called Pretty in Pink, and let me explain what is the Kareem Jackson Foundation, what we support, and we support women with breast cancer. We do a lot of work with women with breast cancer. My mom's a 2-time breast cancer survivor. Mm-hmm. And we work a lot with kids with pediatric cancer. My sister is a leukemia survivor as well. So between those two causes, we do a ton of our work with those two causes. And like I said, firsthand, just being able to see it and what cancer does to a family, man. I just told myself once I got to a point or in a situation where, I can create my own foundation and help some families and try to put some smiles on these kids' faces because, they're not able to, live normal lives as kids, There's no going outside and playing with them. There's no school. it's no friends, sleepovers and all that stuff. It's none of that for them. So for me, I want to try to be a light for them and just try to be an escape and to get away from them whenever I can. And so we just try to schedule events, here and there throughout the year, throughout the season. Like I said, we usually do a Pretty in Pink event. It's where we just bring some women that's either battling breast cancer or that's in remission. They come in and we pamper them. We do manis and pedis. We may have a makeup artist there, and then we do lunch for them. Just try to pamper them just pretty much that entire day, so they can feel special. We do tons of visits to the hospital for the kids. For Christmas, we just went in. Well, we didn't go. We didn't get a chance to go, but we was able to send some toys to the Denver hospital, and we actually did it via Zoom, and just watching those kids open up toys and things like that. So just try to be some type of light for them and escape, and just try to put some smiles on their faces.
Well, look,
whenever you're doing events, let us know. Yeah, let us know.
Yeah, that's
Definitely,
awesome.
Definitely.
Obviously what you do on the field stands for itself, but that right there alone speaks to the character and the kind of person you are off the field. So we've had a wonderful, awesome time chatting with you. The stories are exactly what we here at Road Trippin' love to tell. So thank you for joining us. Channing will send you all the bottles of wine and the list, all the intel you need.
And all this, big fella. I'm learning too, which is fun. It's like, I don't know a lot about Napa Cab, but when I go to the place where I store my wine, I'm always asking questions, right? And I think that's what makes wine fun. So, yeah, get my number, get whatever you need, and anything I got, you can get information-wise.
All right, perfect. I really appreciate that. Do you have a spot in Napa?
No, so I'm actually going to be in Napa in the next 2 weeks. We're doing a Sonoma Coast Pinot Noir, and we're trying to find a vineyard that we want to do a chosen family Napa Cab with, but it takes 18 months in barrel, so we have to get it now so we have to sign the contract now before harvest, so we can give them the money to give us the grapes. There's a process. The whole wine business is awesome, but there is oh, you want wine? Oh, guess what? That's 2 years from now. That's a year from now. That's our champagne 4 years from now. So it's wild.
That sounds awful.
Man, I was about to say it sounds great, but
well, there you go. Whenever you need anything wine related, hit up Channing. He'll direct you, if not give you all the answers. But Kareem, cheers to you.
We appreciate you,
man. On the new deal. You're awesome.
I appreciate it. Thank you guys for having me.
Awesome. It's another Road Trip.
No problem.
Hey Road Trippin' fam, we are excited to let you know that Road Trippin' is proud to be presented by FanDuel. Never played NBA Daily Fantasy on FanDuel before? Well, check this out. Right now, FanDuel is offering up to a $500 bonus instantly when you make your first deposit with a 20% deposit match. Why should you play on FanDuel NBA? Well, for one, it is easy to use when it comes to their app. What's not to love about that? But also, for example, they offer different and unique contests across sports in relation to your skill level. Oh yeah, and get this. You can play for big prizes, single game contests for the biggest national matches, and enter contests for as low as 5 cents. That's right. 5 cents. Simply incredible. So again, let's recap. Right now, FanDuel is offering up to a $500 bonus instantly when you make your first deposit with a 20% deposit match. Enter URL FanDuel.com/roadtrippin to play now and get your deposit bonus. That's URL FanDuel.com/roadtrippin so they know we sent you. FanDuel, more ways to win.